Fellow leaders of the world, welcome to Spread Love in Organizations, a podcast for purpose-driven healthcare leaders striving to make life better around the world by leading their teams with genuine care, servant leadership, and love. I'm Naji, your host for this podcast, having the pleasure today to be joined by Marcello Damiani. Marcello is the Chief Digital and Operational Excellence Officer at Moderna, where he builds the technology, processes, and digitization landscape required to advance a new class of medicines based on mRNA science we're all now somehow familiar with. Marcello has a wealth of experience from both tech and life science companies with a true passion for making digital a reality. He has 20 years experience working in the IT field, with the last 10 years being spent in leadership roles from multinational companies in Europe and in the US. Prior to joining Moderna, he worked at bioMérieux, and before that at Motorola. Marcello, it is such an honor to have you with me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Naji. Glad to be here today.
From pure tech with Motorola after your master's in information system architecture in France to a move in the healthcare industry and now leading digital and operational excellence in one of the companies that helped humanity be out of the pandemic with vaccines. What is in between the lines of your inspiring journey?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll go back. I was born in Lebanon, and it was during the war, and grew up over there. And my parents, well, from the name, as you can hear, there's some Italian in my grandparents and Lebanese in my mom and so on. And I grew up in Lebanon, where I would say it was contrast, because I had probably an excellent childhood on the beaches and having the opportunity to go to the mountains in the winters and so on. But at the same time, it was war. So during that period, you could be stuck at home or in basements for a long period of time to avoid bombs and so on. So this shaped my childhood. And when I got to my 18 years old, finished high school, and wanted to go to university, the only option was to go outside of Lebanon. And I went to France because I had my French baccalaureate, and I was accepted in one university. I didn't apply to more, compared to many today who applies to many university. I applied only to one university at a time, and I went there, and it was in Toulouse in France, where I studied computer science and started with math, physics, mechanics, and then moved into computer science, and then into architecture of systems, and so on. So this is how I came to that. And the reason I wanted to do computer science, it was because this was novel. This was really, at the time, it was the new way of people working, and I wanted to be in that, and I wanted that novel things that's helping shape businesses. And after I finished my university, I started working in a software company, but we worked to launch satellite in the space. Actually, my role was to code, to test the code that we put in the satellites. So it was a sort of quality control code that you put to make sure that those satellites codes are not having issues, because once you launch a satellite, you cannot control the code. So that was my first job, and it was amazing to be in that space. It was amazing.
That's a pretty cool job.
It's a cool job. I mean, working in the aerospace industry, it was a cool job. And then I was young and enjoying my software coding skills, and moved afterwards into the architecting of networks for the air traffic controllers in France. So I worked at the air traffic controllers. I was doing network architecture. At the time, they weren't connected to the internet. It was an isolated network, and they wanted to open to the internet because the internet was the new thing, and you needed to put in place all the resiliency, the architecture, the monitoring, and I played a role in that. And being there, well, actually, the physical location was next to Motorola, and I met many friends during that time from Motorola who were explaining what they do, and it was fascinating to understand what they do. It was the early days of the mobile industry, and again, the same line is, well, this is really innovative. This is novel. I want to be there, and that's what pushed me to go and work for Motorola. And at Motorola, I had multiple journeys. First in the Toulouse site, which started in the semiconductor industry in Toulouse, and then supporting them from an IT standpoint and network and telecommunication, and then moved to European roles, and then moved to global roles, and moved to the US. So that's another phase in my career where I moved to the US really to support a global company, a US company at the time, Motorola, that was growing like crazy with the mobile industry. And at the time when I was in the US, well, at the end of my tenure, Motorola was splitting in multiple companies, selling the mobile business to Google. And I decided maybe it's time to change. It's time to look at a different industry where you can have impact, where innovation, where novel things can change how the world's the health of the world. And I decided to join bioMérieux, which was a diagnostic company. So that was my first move into the life science healthcare industry. And I didn't realize at the time how far apart was this industry from the high-tech industry in which Motorola operated from a technological standpoint, and the gap that there was. And I had the pleasure to lead the transformation over there that helped the company really use technology to better deliver product and better deliver on their supply chain and activities. So that was my journey at bioMérieux, which led me, because at the time the CEO of bioMérieux, when I was hired to bioMérieux, was Stéphane Bancel, who's currently the CEO of Moderna. After a few years, I received a call and asking me whether I wanted to join this small startup that is called Moderna. And I didn't really know anything about Moderna at the time, and decided, okay, well, let's go and discover what Moderna is doing, and what Stefan and Steve Harvin, who was another person and who was leading HR at Moderna at the time, that I knew were doing. And I came and they explained to me messenger RNA. They explained to me the potential of messenger RNA. And although I didn't understand everything they told me, I'm not a scientist by no means. I learned a lot since. But what I understood is really how big it can be, how impactful it can be, and how I can contribute using really technology and digital to help shape it and build it. And this is what attracted me to Moderna.
Thank you so much, Marcello. It's such an inspiring story, and you make it feel it's just coincidence, but I'm sure there's a lot of hard work that you've put through to do all those moves. It's so very different industries, and then now in healthcare.
Yeah, and I think it's hard. It's not hard. I think it's hard for the family, because the family moved with me from France to the US, back to France, and back to the US. So it was hard for the family to adjust, adapt, and so on, but it was always a discussion. I think from my personal career perspective, I think, well, it's about opportunity, but opportunity doesn't come without hard work. I mean, you need to size the opportunity when it comes, but it doesn't come without hard work. You need to prove yourself every time you make a change, even if you know the people, by the way. And I think, yeah, you need to work it, and you need to accept it and move on.
You've been leading teams in times not only of change and crisis, but also in a time where all the world was practically waiting for you to bring us hope as a company, and you did it. What are your key leadership learning from this past experience during COVID?
Yeah, I think during the pandemic, first of all, we were like everyone else. We were at home. So we were leading from home because we wanted the fewer people possible on site, only people working on manufacturing or in the labs. And leading from home, was a different environment to what we were used to, because we were a small company at the time. I used to go through the hallway and discuss with everyone, go see my team almost on a daily basis. And suddenly you're isolated behind your screen and on your chair, moving from your bed to your desk on a daily basis. And I think what helped us, or what helped me and what helped the team, is to keep this close connection. And we kept this close connection through touchpoint almost on a daily basis, using some of the tools that we have available to us, like Teams, chats, phone calls. And I think that was really what helped during that period of time. And the team, I hope they appreciated being close to them, because not only we were moving at extremely high speed, but we were pivoting and shifting and changing almost on a daily basis. And we needed to build and scale at a dramatic rate. And being able to be that close to the team, and it's not about control or micromanagement. It's about really synchronizing, having those touch points help drastically, I think, both me and my team to achieve what we were able to achieve.
I love this, practical example of connectivity, as you said, moving from in-person to virtual. And you've done it, in a time, as you said, you shared a little bit, you were a small company and you grew. So I'd love to hear from you, what are the challenges as a leader that you faced growing your teams and the company at a stellar pace in unprecedented time, with virtual also being one of the aspects, while always ensuring focus, quality, excellence, integrity, which are key fundamentals in our industry?
I would say first, there's one thing that helped everyone during that period, is you had one goal and everyone was focused on this goal. The mission was really to deliver a vaccine to the world. And I think that helped drastically focus everyone. Second, growing the team wasn't easy. I mean, first of all, you needed to hire people. Second, unlike the people that were with you before the pandemic, the new people coming on board, they don't know your culture. They don't know how the company operates. They don't have the networks that were built while people were on site and so on. So we had to really integrate them into the teams. And that was a challenge, because not everyone is able to work remotely and to have the capability to connect and have those continuous touch points and understand what their role and what they need to deliver. So we had to work a lot on our culture, on our mindsets, and explain to people what we expect, but as well try to absorb them, try to embed them in teams so they are part of the organization. And this took us a while. I mean, it wasn't overnight. But what helped is that you had to focus. You had no time to think about, oh, should I do that or not? If you have a task at hand, you need to do it. You cannot think twice or wait 2 days to do it, or wait even a couple of hours, because every minute you lose, you can't recover it. And that was the mindset that we had at the time.
Yeah, it's making me reflect. As you know, Marcello, we share a small background also with Lebanon and the war. But it's, I've been reflecting on this, and it's true. In time of stress and intense, where you need to react as a leader, the best thing is to focus on your purpose and then do what you need, what you know how to do, which is like focus on executing. And it seems these are the ones that helped you out. So my next question is really specific on this. You said you had one goal. Or a purpose, obviously, that you managed to deliver on. I'm intrigued, how are you keeping this purpose alive today within your teams?
Yeah. Yeah, and I say we had one purpose as a company, but the overall mission of the company is really to deliver on the promise of messenger RNA for patients. And that purpose remain and is still the purpose of the company. So before COVID, we had a few development candidates, but now that we have 46 drug in the making, the purpose, although changed from one, which is COVID, the mission itself didn't change. It's really to deliver as many drugs as possible to save life and patients. And this continued to be the purpose, the motivation, the goal of the team. So now we are moving from one COVID vaccine to hopefully way more impact on the world by delivering on those clinical trials that we have ongoing.
I want to ask you now more from a digital standpoint, which is your passion. You're passionate about making digital a reality. I've seen this. Is it close to becoming one?
I would say it will never be a reality, because if you look at it, what digital's intent is really to improve the outcome of what we are doing as a company. And the company is not set in stone. It changes, it evolves, and your digital strategy would have to change with it. But what I would say is that we are making lots of progress in many areas that I'm greatly appreciated of the team, because this is, without those progresses, it would have been impossible to scale this company. It would have been impossible to drastically improve the quality of everything we do. It would have been impossible to build the efficiencies that we need, the scale that we need, the speed that we need, and so on. So this is in reality what my passion is how I can improve the quality of the products we do, the speed, the cycle time of everything that we work on, the scale of the company, and how we improve our productivity so we can deliver more to the world. This is the purpose of digital. It's not in isolation. It's really part of the company strategy, and this is how it should be in any company.
I will now give you one word, and I would love your reaction to it.
Okay.
So the first one is leadership.
Yeah, so I think leadership, first of all, you need to be an example, because many people look at you and they expect from you to make the decisions, to shape the vision, to put their ambition and so on. And I think it's key for a leader to be just that, to make sure that they have all those elements in place so that teams can help. But a leader as well need really to understand their teams. They need to work with them, to listen to them, to be collaborating with them, because a leader alone doesn't serve any purpose. And in many of my role, what I believe made my success is really the team. I could have been a software engineer developing on my own, but what my passion and where I enjoyed most is really when a team has delivered. And when I build when I say systems, it's not software system or application, really a system that deliver and an organization that deliver, and the impact of that delivery is much bigger than just one individual. And I think that's what matters when you're a leader is how you build this ecosystem of organizations, systems, networking that deliver on the mission. And I think that's what this is where my passion is.
Impact.
The outcome of everything that I said is about impact. This is how I manage. Many people or many leader, this is what motivates them, is impact. In some cases, you have leaders that want to compile and build organizations and so on, and they're motivated by that. But for me, what matters is impact. And the reason I'm saying I can say that is I left big companies to join a small company. And when I joined Moderna, I had 2 employees. I coming from a major, big organization. It was completely different. But why I came is really about how can we make an impact, and this is what matters.
I love it. What about digitization?
Yeah, so digitalization is about making sure that we build the best version of the processes, the activities that we work on, and you can break it down in automation and digitization. You can call it different name, but it's really about how can you improve the way of working. And this is what it is about. How you can use your data to improve your decision making. How you can improve your data using machine learning and algorithmics to avoid manual, tedious activities for people and mistakes. So this is what digitization is about. It's really improving the way on how companies work.
And the last word is spread love in organizations.
Yeah, I think in many organizations, the mentalities are around goals, objective, targets, and people are focused in silos, and they want really to deliver on their goals. But I think to be able to deliver on those goals and focus, you cannot do it without being really empathic to others, without understanding the others when you work with them, without taking into account their opinions and so on. So spreading love, I would say, is about all that, is making sure that you have empathy towards the others, you understand them, you collaborate with them, because that's the only way a team can deliver, and a team in a broad sense.
I can only agree to this, Marcello. Any final word of wisdom for leaders around the world?
For me, the key question is what are you trying to achieve, and the impact you want to give to the world. And don't be shy of taking risk to achieve that impact. When I say risk, it's about really sizing opportunities, changing from where you were to the next step in your career. I think for leaders, this is key, to be able to pivot, not to be stuck in what they are doing or be in their comfort zones. Change from your comfort zone. That helps you see really the upper side of things and what you can achieve.
Thank you so much, Marcello, for being with me today and for this inspirational discussion.
Thank you, Najib. Pleasure to be here today.
Thank you all for listening to Spread Love in Organizations podcast. Subscribe and connect with us on SpreadLoveIO.com and your favorite podcast app. Most importantly, spread love in your organizations and spread the word around you to inspire others and amplify this movement our world so desperately needs.